interview Brian Nickens. He's a pillar in this community, and he's also a performer at Forgiven Fest. Soul Love Studios. There's Mr. Brian himself.
So I was just getting ready to set this corner up for us.
Yeah. We can do that.
So this here goes on the end of that couch.
Okay.
Or, yeah, that's where that goes.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name's Eric, and I'm putting on the Forgiven Fest 2 at the Stirring on Saturday, January 27th. And this is Brian Nickens. He's going to be one of the artists there, but he has a lot of good stories to tell you guys also. So, yeah. Brian, give us a little insight on the business side of you and your being a pillar in this community.
Okay. Pillar, that's a big word. So we own, my son and I together, we have a store down the street called NorCal Carpet Broker. And 10 years ago, we're coming up on our 10-year anniversary. Wow. This whole downtown area was pretty much abandoned. Mm-hmm. And we just felt led to buy that corner out, and it was ready to fall down actually. And we just did some sweat equity work in there, and we restored that old building. And one thing led to another. We bought the building next door to it, and we succeeded. We did a great job, and the city noticed it, and they made us an offer on these other two buildings down here, and they just basically, it was kind of a handshake deal, like, we'll hook you up with these buildings if you do something good with them. And so we put in Soul Love Studio, and we have an office building next door that we have a tenant leasing from us. And in the studio here, we do music events, and we rent it out for parties and all kinds of stuff. And so, yeah, we've been here downtown Anderson just crushing it, really, and having a good time. And I've have experience before in being involved in old downtown areas, and I love the vibe, and I love taking something that's old and ruined and making it new, and I just love redemption, like, period. Right. And so that's kind of our history here with downtown, is we have NorCal Carpet Broker, Shasta Window Fashions, mm-hmm. we're the landlords for Spherian Staffing, mm-hmm. and we have Soul Love Studio, which is a venue.
Okay. Brian, tell us kind of how we met.
How we met?
Yeah.
Actually, you came into our store.
Yeah.
And you became a client of ours and purchased flooring multiple times. And we just kind of hit it off. But I do remember you being in the store on a Saturday, mm-hmm. and the Lord giving me a word about your son.
Right.
And I don't think we even talked spiritual or Christian talk or anything like that. We hadn't gotten that far in our friendship.
We hadn't even talked about kids or family or anything really.
Yeah, I don't even think I knew whether if you were a believer.
Yeah. So he came out and goes, I got a word for you. You go, you have a son that's in music? I go, yeah. He says, tell him to stick to it. And from that point on, and now I got the chill bumps from somebody. It must be the Spirit coming, because something good's about to happen. So from that point on, we've been pretty good friends.
Yeah. We're having a good run.
Yeah. He rented this venue out to me a year ago for my first event. It was called From the Streets to the Altar. It was Forgiven Part 1. It went off really well, and the rest is pretty much history.
It's interesting that this is Forgiven Fest. The first Christian band that I had, mm-hmm. I was the front man many years ago, was called The Forgiven.
Wow. So see, he's got his hand all in
It's destiny. It's
meant to happen.
Yeah.
Cool. And so you have a musical background, but I heard a story that you receive songs in a dream.
Yeah, I do. One in particular is kind of what kicked off that whole part of it. I have a song. You can go to nickensinc.org and you can listen on the My Music link, and you can just listen for free. I got 3 albums on there. I've recorded 3 albums in the last 2.5 years, and so I've been going kind of bonkers with writing. But one song in particular is called The Old Oak Tree, and it's what kicked off me actually starting to record music again. And I had this dream of these 2 young lovers that were separated by war, and it's a really beautiful story. And I woke up literally, and the whole thing was playing over me like a movie at about 5:30 in the morning.
Right.
And I grabbed my phone and I started hearing these melodies and these words. So I started singing into my phone what I was seeing. And I sang this entire song, and then I put my phone down, fell back asleep, forgot all about it till later that day. And when I listened back, I couldn't believe what I heard. And so it was the entire song intact. I sang it the first time as though I'd known it my whole life.
Right.
And so I recorded it, and I never changed one word. I didn't change the order of the words. I didn't change the melody. I just recorded it the way I heard it. And the Lord spoke to me during that process and said, if you steward this, I'll give you more. And so I started having more dreams, and I started recording them. And I'm actually writing, from one of the dreams that I had, I'm actually writing a novel right now. And it's about a young girl that had kind of a rough upbringing, and she ends up being a national rodeo queen.
Wow.
And that album is actually on my website. It's called Queen of the Rodeo. But I've had many requests to turn it into a book. So I'm about 1/3 done with a full novel on the Queen of the Rodeo too. Yeah. You guys didn't know that part.
Didn't know that. I knew you were an author, but I didn't know you were in the middle of a novel.
And so, but that kind of launched the whole music thing, was that dream. And also my granddaughter Josie, who's a worship leader at Bethel for like 5 years, she prompted me during, I think it was the Thanksgiving dinner. She had hit me up and asked me why I wasn't playing the guitar. She's seen videos of Grandpa when he was younger, you know, and she's just asking me, how come you don't do music anymore? And I'm like, I don't know. And I still remember the look on her face. She said, you should. And, you know, it kind of had a reverb to it or something. I just felt like that was the voice of the Lord. And so that's when I pulled out my guitar and dusted it off and started dinking around again. And then I had that dream about that song, and so I just felt compelled to go out and start playing music again.
Wow, amazing, amazing. And your music reminds me of, you have like a bluesy, jazzy, folk type, all in one.
Yeah.
And it's really, you can, that's some music that he plays that you can sit back and you can relax and you can just, you can think, you can dream, you can actually, I believe you can hear God talk to you with that music playing in the background.
Well, my favorites are, you know, I love Bob Dylan. I love lyrics. Right. I love stories behind songs, and so I love Bob Dylan, but I also listen to Miles Davis and Neil Young, and I mean, it's just kind of all in there.
Yeah, and you've kind of interwoven them all, and it's amazing music. I've heard several of your songs, and you mix and you master and record all your own. So now we're going to talk about how you became part of Forgiven Fest 2. I remember I came to your carpet broker store and asked, you know, and told you what I was doing and asked if you want to be a sponsor, and you said, yeah, I'll be a sponsor. And then I was just jokingly say, you want to be the opening act? And you go, sure. So now I'll let you take it from there.
Yeah, it kind of blew my mind because I understood, you know, what I thought I understood of the event, that it was going to be very youth oriented and, you know, R&B and hip hop and rappers and that kind of a thing. That was kind of what I was thinking. And but at the same time, if you know my history, it felt totally natural for me to be in that atmosphere, because I just have such a heart for young people, and I just feel like honored to be present to open up with a couple of tunes and just kind of be. I'm almost 65 years old, and so I feel kind of grandfatherly in this event, and to be able to just give an impartation and just usher in the presence of the Lord and just watch these young guys crush it.
Right.
And I'm really looking forward. I know they're all great. I am looking forward to Miles Minnick, so it's going to be awesome.
Yeah, he's a real warrior for God. I mean, he's if you ever hear him talk, his testimony floored me when I first heard it. At 16 years old, he was overcame by the power of the Holy Spirit and was out on the floor for hours.
Yeah. I love it when that happens.
Yeah, so you'll hear that testimony on Saturday. On a lighter note, Brian, you were saying earlier that you feel like the grandfather there, but the host, Big Sass, is 64 years old also.
All right.
So you won't be the grandfather. You guys, you'll have a twin brother there.
We're going to be friends. I can tell. I can feel it already.
Yeah. And he's a comedian, and he's had a career open up for a lot of the big name comedians, and he hosts a lot. We've been friends for 40 plus years, and I want to just tell how that came apart, him being the host. It was about almost midnight, and my phone rang, and I'm like, man, what is Sass calling me at midnight for? I hope nothing's wrong. You get late night calls, there's usually something wrong. He goes, no, I'm just calling, checking on you, and he goes, seeing how's the event going, and I'm like, everything's going good. He goes, who's hosting it? And I was jokingly, I paused for a minute jokingly. I go, you? And he goes, well, let me check my schedule. He comes back to the phone. He goes, I'll do it.
Nice.
And ever since then, God has been working on his heart. Because he called me probably a week later, and he goes, I don't know why I'm doing this. I don't know why this is happening. I just know it's something special, and I believe God has something to do with it. I'm like, God has everything to do with it.
Yeah.
So God's working on a lot of people's lives. This event's going to be very special. We have a fundraiser also for Sui Kuamande. He has multiple myeloma cancer. He has young children, and he's a friend of a friend, and he's a friend of mine also. When I heard about that, I added that to the card of the event, because my events are really geared towards the youth, but I stopped saying that. I say they're geared towards everybody, because everybody needs to hear from the Lord.
Yeah. Well, on that note, man, I just pray that the fundraiser's successful for him, but also that the Lord heals him.
Right.
And so if he hears this interview, just receive the power of Jesus right now.
Yes.
The Lord can and wants to heal you. And it'd be really cool is if the funds that are generated, he doesn't need them for cancer, but he can take his family out on a trip or something.
Yes, yeah.
And celebrate.
Yeah, celebrate healing. And just by you saying that healing, when I first added that to the event, I was telling my wife, and I tell everyone, that I just feel that God's going to heal him. And I don't know if it's going to be that night, but I know when he goes back to the doctor, and I feel it so deep down in my soul that they're going to say, you don't have cancer anymore. And you can tell everybody where they can find your music.
You can go to SoundCloud and just Brian Nickens, BrianNickens. And also, you can go to my website, nickensinc.org, and listen to it for free there. And I do have an audio book on there too that you can listen to for free called Hunger Driven. And we just look forward to seeing you guys out there. It's going to be a blessed time.
And I want to say one more thing about that book, Hunger Driven. Hunger Driven has a lot to do with a lot of testimony in Brian's life, and that book will blow your mind. So if you're not a big reader, listen to it. So we're going to see all of you, hopefully, January 27th at 2250 Churn Creek Road at the Stirring for Forgiven Fest 2. We have a lot of artists coming out, and we have a lot of great testimony, and we're going to have some great fun. It's for the whole family to come out and enjoy. We'll have food trucks, and we have a comedian that's going to be the host. So we're going to have you laughing and crying all at once.
I want to tag to the end of that. So for all of you young hip hop rapper dudes that are letting this old man open for you, like kudos. Looking forward to meeting all you guys.
All right. See ya.